And hello and welcome back to the 2019 inaugural Women's Canadian Rugby Club Championships here in Markham, Ontario. We are at Fletchers Fields and we are now about to begin the gold medal match of this championship. The game today, it's 2 o'clock p.m. and the game today is between Capilano RC from North Vancouver and Club de Rugby de Quebec from Quebec. We are going to just acknowledge the fact that on the screen you will notice that CRQ is down as QUE. It is not a provincial team. This is a club team from Quebec. It's an amalgamation of two teams in the province, but we just want to make sure everyone understood that CRQ is a club team, not a provincial team. We're about to get going. Our referees for today are head referee Mo Chaudhry, assistant referees Chloe Seidner, and our other assistant referee, once I get the page with her name on it, I apologize, is Jake White. Very experienced referees here today. Mo Chaudhry has actually refereed internationally at various events, and so we're very privileged to have a referee of his caliber refereeing this finals. At the end of this game, we will have the crowned best club rugby team in the nation. This is an exciting tournament where we're seeing some of the best rugby clubs in the country come together, test themselves against each other. I know I'm now being joined here by Maureen McMahon, rugby legend, 36 cap national team player, my former teammate from the Toronto Scottish. And you can imagine back in the day when we played for Toronto Scottish, how exciting this would have been for us to play some of the teams across the country when we were in the prime of our days at Toronto Scottish.
Absolutely, Marlene. You know, this is such a special occasion. We did actually take it upon ourselves to go as the top club in Ontario to go and meet the top club in Quebec because of our proximity geographically, but we never had that chance to test ourselves against what is the caliber out west. So this is a really special opportunity. We saw how dominant Quebec, the Quebec City team, Club de Rugby de Quebec, was on Friday. And so we're really excited to see how they are against Capilano, who had a closer game against Charlottetown. Alors aussi, moi, je vais faire un petit peu de commentaire en français pour nos spectateurs à Québec. Alors, merci pour nous avoir joints. C'est la première fois que ça existe, un championnat des clubs de Canada dans le rugby féminin. On est très content de l'avoir. Marlene et moi, on avait dit que dans notre temps, on jouait puis on n'avait pas l'opportunité de tester la force des équipes de Ontario et Québec contre ceux de l'Ouest du Canada. Alors vraiment, on est chanceux vraiment d'avoir un championnat ici comme ça. C'est la première fois que ça arrive en 2019. On espère que ça va continuer dans 2 ans, dans 2021. Alors, merci de nous avoir joints. On est très contents d'être ici. C'est une très belle journée. Ici, on est juste au nord de Toronto et on est à Markham. C'est Fletchers Field, c'est l'endroit de rugby en Ontario. Il y a 6 terrains de jeu ici. Un clubhouse, un terrain de... où on va voir un clubhouse où on va voir le banquet ce soir. Puis on est très contents. Les filles de Club de Rugby de Québec nous ont fait le voyage, sont venues jeudi soir, ils vont retourner demain. Alors ils prennent beaucoup de temps d'eux autres de venir nous joindre.
And if you're just joining us now, you would have maybe just missed the previous game, the bronze medal game between Charlottetown PEI and Toronto Saracens. What a tight game. Toronto Saracens just skimmed in with a win, with a 1-point win against the Charlottetown RC. Unfortunate loss for Charlottetown. They've had a great tournament, but a great show of resilience for Toronto Saracens, who came back from a hard loss against CRQ on Friday. So we're off to the races here on the field at Fletchers in front of the stadium. We have possession of the ball right now is with CRQ. Great line out. Ball comes down. And they're driving forward. We talked about actually CRQ is one of the few teams that actually has shown use of a maul. We're not seeing it as much in today's game.
Certainly with the heat, it's something that teams tend not to use as much. Just because it can be so energy draining for the players. But certainly Rugby Quebec, now Club de Rugby Quebec, has gone forwards. They've gained a lot of territory for it. They're reorganizing, and now they're about to move that ball out.
Still in possession. They're already at the 40-meter. They're almost close to half, but they've been brought back. I guess he's feeling there wasn't the advantage he wanted. Mo Chaudhry, again, experienced referee here in this final game.
Yeah, he's on the Canadian Rugby Canada National Panel of Referees, so we're really honored to have him here, a high caliber ref for a high caliber game.
And the ball goes out, giving CRQ a little bit of room on the field, getting closer to the try line they're trying to head over.
Again, we saw that was a penalty, and so when the ball is kicked out on a penalty, the ball will go out. Will be thrown in from the site where it crossed that line, so it goes into touch or out of bounds, and the team that kicked it retains possession. That's why CRQ is now having that throw in to the line out.
And CRQ's tried to start with a 4-man line out. Unfortunately, Capilano disrupted it. They have possession of the ball. They're going forward back into the mess, but they're going to probably get that ball out a little bit slower. But it's out. A nice pick and go. Getting pushed back by CRQ. Strong defensive showing in the last game. CRQ understands what line speed, the importance of line speed. Big tackle on Macy Munson. Player to watch from Capilano. It is still Capilano ball. CRQ making their way back.
And again, the referees are giving lots of hand signals, arm signals that make it easier for us to understand what's going on in the game. The referee had his straight arm all the way up, meaning that it was a penalty against CRQ, giving the ball to Capilano.
Ball still in. Went backwards, so she can still play the ball. And the ball's out. Passing off to some forwards. That looks to me like Fabiola. She has this distinct style of running. Fabiola Fortiza. Back row for CRQ. A little bit messy in the ruck. But Capilano has counter-rucked. They're getting the ball back. Great turnover ball by Capilano into the hands of Jillian Bogue. Powerful hooker for the Capilano team. Quick pass out to the outside. And they're going to call diving over from CRQ.
So we're seeing that the referee really is kind of setting the tone for the game, letting the players know what is expected of them. We've had that's at least three penalties early in the game. So the players, of course, having to adjust to what the referee wants. CRQ having the advantage of having been refereed by Mo Chaudry in the last game on Friday. But just again, the anxiety is up. You're playing so hard. Sometimes you just want too much just to win that ball or to get up and in the face of the offense.
So our players, Christina, Burnham, and Julia, are trying to chase down that ball, I think, somewhere. It's gone into the to the abyss. And hopefully we'll get the ball back soon, and there's another ball there. And we're going to see probably a lot of how Kaplan is going to use Macy Munson's foot to sort of gain territory. She showed that she has a great boot, and that can be a key in terms of controlling the game and getting down the field at your own pace. Almost like, why would you, plug it up, use your body when you can just get a kick down the field?
Yeah, and certainly if they can get in behind the CRQ defense, because we saw that CRQ defense, we didn't see a lot of them on Friday because they were quite dominant in attack, but if they want to get in behind them, they can use that kick to gain territory, even if they give up the ball, but they get territory down the field.
We're trying to see what's happening. I have a feeling this is one of those like nose ring or earring or a contact. It looked maybe a contact lens. One of those
And so
things.
Again, so Capilano is here. They won their division this year in 2019.
This year, they played in the finals in May against my club team, West Shore RC.
Huh?
And we lost by 1 point. Thank you, Mo, for bringing that up.
No hard feelings there. But certainly they're a strong team. The one disadvantage that they have coming in here is that they're not in season. So they've been working hard to try and get ready for this game. And we'll see how they do.
Mobile keeps her hands on the ball. A little bit of interesting movement there in the line out. Number 10 gets the ball, takes it into contact. Number 10 is Shannon Craig from Capilano. Some flat passes into the hands of Mikayla Nelson. And she secures ball. Back into the hands of number 4, Katrina Josephides. Well, I think it's actually Josephides, sorry. It's Greek.
They call her Frenchie, actually. So
Frenchie.
maybe CRQ won't be able to get away with as many their secret calls as they might think. But again, you can see how quickly and how up together that the CRQ defense is coming. They're right up to putting pressure, taking away time, taking away space from the attacking Capilano players.
Ball's coming out into the hands of Macy Munson, quickly into the hands of their number 13. Number 13 is Ella Marwick, into the hands of number 11, if I'm not mistaken, and that was Heather Muir.
So
just double check there to see who scored that try.
So Capilano is able to get around the defense from the backs from CRQ. We see that looks like it might be Kathleen Keller having limping a little bit. She had great pressure initially, but again, Capilano just able to get around, not able to make that last try-saving tackle. Had her, but the Capilano player able just to keep her legs driving and move free from that tackle.
Sorry, folks, I can't see exactly who. It's somewhere. It could have also been number 13, Ella Marwick, that scored that, but I will try and get a clarification of that later. But we are now watching as Macy Munson kicks for conversion to see if they get those 2 points. It's 5-0 for Capilano. They've come out early, similar to how CRQ came out early against Toronto Saracens. Will it be the same situation? Based on what I've seen, I'm sure CRQ will be coming back in this next kick.
And then, of course, the conversion is being taken in a line directly back from where the ball was touched down to the ground. In rugby, not like in football, the ball, once it's in the end zone, actually has to make contact with the ground. And where that ball is grounded then, that is where the conversion is taken from.
And that is a sweet conversion by Macy Munson. Sweet conversion by Macy Munson. That brings the score up to 7-0. 7-0 for Capilano.
And Macy Munson, again, was one of the dominant players in the game against Charlottetown on Friday. Strong running center, but also had great kicks and able to make those kicks from the angles fairly far out. So she'll be one CRQ will have to be careful about where they make any penalties.
So kickoff from Anne Charlotte Beaulieu into the hands of Capilano. That's Melissa Robb taking the ball in, setting up platform. Looks to be a bit messy. They're trying to get that CRQ player out of the way. That was number 4, Vicky Boutin. Good pressure on Macy.
Again, those nerves are still early in the game. Less than 10 minutes have gone in the game yet. So players just being anxious, being really just too ready to come up on defense.
Mikayla Nelson takes the ball, gives them some yardage. Quick pass off on the blind side, but nowhere to go. Christina Burnham is the scrum half for Capilano. We're seeing that boot again from Capilano. We're seeing that their game plan is coming to effect. And CRQ replies with a kick of their own. Good placement by CRQ.
And you saw from that.
And a quick line out. Quick line out into the hands of Shannon Craig. CRQ shuts it down. Number 1, Mikayla Nelson again. She'll be a player to watch, but a quick pickup by number 7. That's Fabiola. Kicks at the ball quickly. And we are seeing what CRQ is known for. Quick passing out into the hands of a fast winger. But Capilano was able to get out there. Number 6, Laurent Chabot. And going back.
And so you can see that they're trying to come right up that sideline, going back almost within that 5 meters from the sideline, trying to really bring Capilano across, trying to open up gaps then for when they'll come back towards the open side of the field.
Capilano now has possession of the ball. But
great tackle by Kathleen Keller.
able to organize. Again, taking a lesson from Charlottetown, CRQ is coming up on the outside, shutting down that outside pass. And a little bit back and forth here. the back and forth could actually be a strategy as well, bringing them back and forth and then sort of seeing where they can find those holes.
Yeah. Coming back and forth means that the defending team has to run over towards the left to defend and then come back to the right. But we had the captains of both the teams yesterday up here talking to us at the halftime of the bronze medal game. We had Justin from CRQ talking to us, and we had Jessica talking to us from Capilano. Both of them interesting, saying they didn't practice a lot. They did video review, but both confident in their systems, in their style of play, and choosing to focus on more the strategic. So as much as the women are physically ready for this game, there takes a lot of analyzing these teams that are new to them. CRQ has never played Capilano before, as far as I understand, and neither the other way around. So it's always exciting to face new competition, to face new players that you haven't necessarily seen before, and to be able to come up with a strategy. So that's really a lot of work on the leaders of the team, but also, very importantly, on the coaches.
Okay, and we have a sub. We already have our first sub for Capilano. That is Demi Stamatakis is on the field. Demi Stamatakis is a very powerful player out in BC, and her early entry could be a benefit to Capilano. There might have been an injury there. We're waiting for the ball to come out. Oh, there it is. Christina Burnham gets the ball out quickly. Shannon sends out a zipper. And we get a turnover, interception. Looks to offload, but hangs onto the ball. Number 12, we know number 12, that is Audrey Champagne. And she's heading towards the try line. Can she cross it? We might have a held up ball. Looks like Mo is calling the ball's held up. What a run by Audrey.
So what a run by Audrey, but what great cover defense by Capilano. When you're saying it's held up and is possibly held up, the referee is now going to consult with the assistant referee to see if she saw anything that would change his call. But what we mean by held up.
And we have a try! The CRQ answers back with a try against Capilano.
Okay. So back and forth game already.
It is 5-7 for Capilano. And this is what we were expecting. We're seeing a similar competition as we saw in the bronze medal game. Charlottetown and Toronto Saracens did the same thing, back and forth. You score a try, I'm going to answer back with a try. So we may see a little bit of this in this game, and might be as tight a game as it was in the bronze medal match. So we're here, and I'm just this is a great opportunity to maybe talk again. Got to always plug the sponsors for this tournament. The CCRC is grateful for the following sponsors for supporting this event: Canadian Rugby Foundation, Langara Fishing Lodge, Toronto Arrows, Pemberton Homes, Sportside Medical Services, Gilbert Rugby Canada, Aldehart, Aptawella Women's Rugby Apparel, Toronto Inner City Rugby Foundation, Fletchers Fields, Rugby Ontario, and Rugby Canada. And as we said earlier, at halftime we'll have head coach of the senior women's team, Sandra Fiorino, coming out to talk to us about some of the things that are going on in the National Senior Women's Team program.
And isn't it great that he's out here to see these really strong clubs? Some of the players that would be on this team wouldn't necessarily be in either the provincial or the national team programs, but it's still an opportunity for them to be seen, because not everybody is able to make that commitment to play at that next level up, and yet they can be such an integral part of a club rugby.
And there's talent everywhere, as we know, so no stone should go unturned.
Yeah.
Hear that, Sandro? Ball goes backwards, but CRQ maintains possession. Great run there, great footwork. She drives hard, gets the ball back, and they look to come back where she came from. But they're going to call offside there, and CRQ, if they're going to go for a little bit of possession here. They're not going to take it quick. They recognize, one, a player is down, and a little positioning on the field is probably important at this time.
And again, it's a wonderful day out here. Just take an opportunity to say there's a very little bit of wind. There's some flags down and in our left hand, just beyond our left hand end zone. So the wind has picked up a little bit, but it's a nice clear day. It's not terribly humid, but that sun is just bearing down on the field. The field is in good condition, but it's actually a little bit hard just because there hasn't been a lot of rain here in Toronto for the past while, so we've been told. And again, the players had a fairly hard game on Friday, so it is energy sapping, they're going to be playing hard. They've got lots of nerves and energy. This is a great chance for them just to regroup and to conserve that energy and come back at it hard.
And we're just waiting here for Marie Thibault to come back on her feet. Something must have happened. It's looking like something to do with her ankle. But she's going to be back. Marie Thibault is a very important player. They are not going to want to lose a player like that. But she's back on the field, up and running, ready for this kick.
Okay. Again, this is going to be a line out. So, again, a way to get the ball back into play is both teams are going to line up. They're about a meter apart. The advantage goes to the team that's throwing in this case CRQ. And this is something that they've practiced time and again, the timing between the hooker throwing the ball in, that number 2, Kathleen Keller that we see, and the jumper going up.
Great defensive line out by Capilano. Lindsay Nicholson, the number 8 for Capilano, is actually a really experienced line out jumper. I know we faced her in BC playing against Capilano, and she's sort of an understated player, but has been around for a while, but strong player, great line out jumper. Did a great job there defensively.
And as she's listed her profession as mom. So again, being able to come back into the game at a club level, that's really kind of inviting to and flexible to allow people to come in, even when they have these great commitments outside of the game.
And that was taken in by Katerina Josephides. Capilano held onto that ball. It's hard to let go, but you got to do it. And Mo Chaudry is not going to let players get away with that. So now the ball is in possession of CRQ.
So interesting, the ball is in the middle of the field. So often with the penalty, the kick for touch or to kick the ball out of bounds will be the choice. But because the ball's in the middle of the field, it's the territory advantage is not going to be as great. And so Quebec, Club de Rugby de Quebec here has chosen to take a scrum. What that does is it helps to tie in the opposition team within a smaller area, giving lots of space either for the forwards of CRQ to pick up the ball and run at the backs, or for the backs to run and just have a lot of space going forwards. A nice center field scrum.
Yes. And Kaplan will take the advantage on that scrum. But CRQ looked to be able to maintain possession, but I don't know for how long. And that ball, now we're going to call CRQ for diving over. Melissa Robb tried to pick up the ball quickly, but the referee's like, no, hold on here. Take it from the mark. And here we go again. I think we're going to see Munson go for kicks, those important kicks that we've been talking about.
And certainly we see on Friday's game, CRQ really didn't have as much competition in the set piece being the scrums and the lineouts. Today, Kaplan was doing a really good job of disrupting both their lineouts. So when CRQ is trying to throw the ball into the line, Capilano a couple times now has taken the ball away from them and come up with the ball. And again, that was CRQ put into the scrum. In other words, they should be able to retain possession. And Capilano was able to disrupt their scrum and claim possession of the ball, which may lead to 3 points here. So that puts a lot of pressure on the front rows. There's first 3 players, the players wearing jerseys 1, 2, and 3, the 2 props and the hooker in the middle, as well as the 2 second rows, the players wearing numbers 4 and 5. It's a lot of pressure on them.
Definitely scrummaging, you can feel every ounce of pressure through your vertebrae. I think I'm about 5 inches shorter than I was when I started this game.
Don't worry, guys. She was never that tall.
And is this strike good? That looks to be good to me. Macy Munson gets her team 3 points.
And again, great kick by Macy Munson. She's somebody who's actually even played in New Zealand. There's a few of the Capilano players have played in New Zealand. And Macy owns a construction business that operates in Vancouver, BC.
Effective kicker. It's definitely one of those tool belt skills Kaplan will be happy to have. Number 10 for CRQ and Charlot. And a little miss of a mishandle there. in a game like this, we can't make a lot of mistakes. CRQ takes it back into the hands of Fabiola Fortiza. And they're marching up the field. Number 4, Vicky Boutin. But their number 9, Justine Pelletier, gets the ball out, and captain. Tight offloads there. Capilano's doing a good job with pressure on CRQ. Those passes, try to get that quick pass out to the wing, but she wasn't able to do that.
And I'm sure you can hear the screams from the spectators here. We've got a great squad of spectators that have made the travel from Quebec City to Toronto to Markham here, which is a good, probably about an 8-hour drive along the 401, along the Trans-Canada. So they've had great support here, and certainly not going to let the referee get away with too much.
Or what they think, with what they think that he shouldn't get away with.
Yeah. Again, the referees for this level of game are mic'd up, meaning that the 2 assistant referees that you can see in green on the sidelines, they actually have microphones, and they can help the head referee, Mo Chowdhury, with anything that they see. Because again, there's one referee for the whole of the game. For sure, there are certain things that he may not see firsthand. So the 2 assistant referees are there exactly that, to assist them.
And we have a scrum right underneath our nose. Nice and low. Ball didn't really go into the channel. Kind of popped out there.
And you could see the indecision on Justine's face. She didn't know what to do. It was at her feet. She chose to pick it up, but again, obstructing the Capilano scrum half from being able to play it. So she was dinged for that.
And down the field we go. This is going to be a sight we'll see often in this game. Great territory by Macy Munson. Oh, maybe not as good as I thought.
It's tough. The angle.
The angle. Stuff with the angle went off the line.
Okay. And we'll see again. So certainly it seems that CRQ is trying to run a wider game. Kaplan not allowing them. You can see how Capilano now is lined up. They've got 2 players right behind their number 10, their standoff. So we'll see how they use those players.
Great lineup by Capilano to the back of the lineout, but unfortunately there was a bit of, again, a mishandle and went into the hands of CRQ now.
And again, we can see that pressure being put from CRQ on the ball coming out of the lineout. Just not giving that time for Capilano to get their plays going.
Okay, we're getting the ball out. Nice little decoy runner there. Great footwork. Can she get around? Macy's chasing her down, and she's struggling hard. Number 13, Mary Thibault, trying to get out of the hands of her opposition. Looking to hold on to that ball. Good pressure from Capilano. Looking to steal. They don't get their hands on it. Miss pass out to the wing. Number 14 has the ball. Gabrielle Plerd. Can she make it all the way down? And she gets tackled by number 15, Ashley Robinson. Great work by the fullback. Capilano looked to counter ruck, but they don't have the ball. Number 7, Fabiola. Straight through the middle and right in front of the post. CRQ can taste it. Number 3, Maud La Liberté. This is close. And we have a steal, and that's into the hands of Demi Stamatakis. Strong, powerful runner from BC. Kaplan have won the ball back. Turnover ball into the hands of Capilano. Christina is trying to direct her team. She has options. We talked about being in the middle of the field. Back into the hands of Demi. Offload to, looks like Jillian Bogue. Into Mel Robinson's hands. And Ashley Robinson, and if I'm not mistaken, Melissa and Ashley are actually sisters. Back and forth. Capilano is not making much ground. CRQ is right up on them, taking away opportunities, but they still have possession. The patient game, Macy Munson gets the ball. She breaks through. They're going to look for a low tackle. You got to go low on Macy. Can they get there? She looks to offload. Doesn't get to hand.
And that was a great line break, but great cover defense by CRQ, getting across the field, doing enough to disrupt the play.
What we do know about CRQ from the last game is speed is not an issue for them. They are fast and they're fit.
Yeah.
So that's what we saw there. Macy's not slow, so getting out there to cover her was a great job by CRQ. I think we're doing that water break. A little advertisement for water. Drink it. It's good for you.
Puis ce qu'on voit ici, on va arrêter le jeu pour un instant parce qu'il fait quand même assez chaud ici. Alors, on va prendre une pause de quelques minutes pour laisser les filles, les femmes de prendre un petit peu d'eau pour se rafraîchir, pour être capable de continuer. La sécurité des joueuses, c'est toujours la priorité pour nous, pour tout le monde. Puis vraiment, on a vu, faut mentionner quelques joueuses qui jouent très bien. On a vu Anne-Marie Boulanger-Martel, elle a fait 2 plaquages de suite juste devant le 22. Puis Anne-Marie Boulanger-Martel, elle aussi, elle a joué pareillement comme quelques joueuses de Capilano en Nouvelle-Zélande. Elle a passé 3 mois en Auckland, Nouvelle-Zélande. Puis près de mon cœur, elle est physiothérapeute à la Ville de Québec. Moi aussi, je suis physiothérapeute. Puis il y en a plusieurs des joueuses de rugby qui le sont. So what I've just said is that one person to really point out on the Quebec team made 2 tackles right in a row down in the attack when Capilano was trying to get out of their zone was Anne-Marie Boulanger-Martel.
So, I don't know, you can't see this in the booth here, but like Mo kind of looks at me while she's talking in French and I have no idea what she's saying. And she talks to me like we're having this conversation. I just wait for her to finish. She has her voice is soothing me. It's very relaxing. I love listening to her talk. I wish I could speak more French. Unfortunately, I can't, but we're grateful to have legendary Maureen McMahon here with me so she can speak for us, as I would not be able to do such a great job. So it's water break right now. Again, they're getting that water back in them. And we're just, actually it was interesting because Devine sent out an article to us earlier, just some information, and just talking about how the women's game in rugby has sort of started about 130 years ago. I actually probably didn't read, I'm on my summer break as a teacher, so I don't want to read too much. But it talked about how the women's game of rugby has been around for about actually 130 years. I didn't realize it went back that far. And just some of the differences. I know you, both of us have played over in England,
yep.
Where probably some of it started, or at least in the United Kingdom, and our experiences there. I played for the London Wasps. You played for Cardiff and the Richmond women,
yep.
Premier over there. But just thinking about like across the country and some of these top club, but being able to have those opportunities to play abroad, to play in different provinces, play club rugby, and where it's always just this sort of consistent community wherever you go.
And really the advantage when you play in the UK is that everything's just so close, you know. So playing in Cardiff, we played in the English Premier League, and you got on a bus and you went up to Waterloo to play, and it was maybe a 5-hour ride. And really we don't have that opportunity here in Canada to regroup players close by, which has this for and against. One of the things is that then when we came together as a Canadian team, or even as a provincial team, because our provinces are really big, it's a rare opportunity, and the intensity of the women when you get together is great because you know how precious that opportunity is.
Definitely. And we did talk earlier about how club is so important because it is where you generally spend the majority of your development. You spend so much time. Your club coach usually knows you better than any coach that you've played with. So really important part of the pathway for Rugby Canada. And it looks like we have a slight wheel there in the scrum, but it's going to go for Capilano.
Yeah. And again, we're seeing that Kaplan was able to disrupt the scrum of CRQ, which is putting them really at a disadvantage. They have really struggled with their scrum. Definitely, a lot of pressure from Capilano. They obviously have seen something on the video and been able to take advantage of it.
I think what we saw yesterday, Friday in the Charlottetown PEI game, the Charlottetown Capilano game, was that Capilano didn't really get their groove in the scrum until the second half. It was quite equal in terms of dominance, and then in the second half, Capilano sort of then started to dominate the scrum. We're seeing here a little bit an earlier start in terms of their scrummaging, which is good to see, because that could be a real advantage for them, especially with the strength of their forward pack.
Yeah, and it's not as if either team has really made many changes. Club de Rugby de Quebec has actually the exact same lineup as they had for their semi-final game, and Capilano has made only one change with Caitlyn coming, starting for Sophia Zubricki, and that would be on the wing. So very consistent lineups. They know what to expect from each other. And we'll watch this kick.
Ooh.
Oh.
Good direction, pretty close, but it just went outside the post.
And so
but you get a sense of the sort of range that Macy has in her kicking.
Yeah. And so what happens here, because that kick was missed and it went, the ball now goes to CRQ, and they will have the opportunity to kick the ball from behind that solid line. We call that this line the 22. So they have to kick it from somewhere behind. Again, you'll see all the players lined up behind the ball so that they'll be onside.
Ball drops just behind the 40. Mikayla Nelson picks it up. Hard runner, comes forward, sets up the platform. Christina Burnham looking to move the ball quickly. A little faster pace in their movement in this game than we saw on Friday. And Shannon Craig with the boot. Good placement. No one's there. We might even get the... and they do! Macy picks it up, looks for the offload, doesn't go to hand. CRQ is back there. They're fit and fast. They get back on defense, and they're able to pick up that ball.
So great work to get back, and great work to slow that ball down by CRQ. They're not panicking under that pressure. They're just consolidating the ball, working it, getting a little bit better angle for that kick.
So you saw they did a sort of pick and go to the right, and then they created almost like security for their kicker, who made a little bit of ground, but definitely safer than they were.
Yeah. And so we've seen when a team has a penalty and kicks to touch or kicks the ball out of bounds, we see that they retain the possession. But here, CRQ was the team that kicked the ball, but it's gone to Capilano, and that's because it wasn't a penalty. It was in the regular run of play.
Capilano moving around in the line out, front and back. They have some options, but it's in the hands of CRQ at the moment. And they're going to drive it up just like they did last time. We might see one more pick and go, and as we're seeing right now from their number 3, Maud de la Liberté. I think Maud is also the vice president of their club at the moment. They have a young, looks like I was looking at their website, and they have a very young executive. Number 7, Fabiola. And they're in the pocket. Into the hands of number 11. But she... Oh, and a good pickback by number 14. 15 hands it off to number 15. Great hit by Macy. They're slowing it down a little bit. Great hands, good hands. And passed it right into Capilano's hands. But they're going to call probably offside.
So good retention by CRQ on that. They made a nice kick, an error by the Capilano player, and yet CRQ was able to regain possession, even with that great hit that was put in, still able to keep the ball, get the ball coming back on their side. We see that that's Kathleen Keller, one of the stalwarts of the CRQ team, doing a lot of work on defense, but perhaps carrying an injury with her.
Ball stolen from Capilano. CRQ player went down too fast, had to release. And it pops out in the hands.
So again, now we'll see another scrum. We'll see this scrum goes to Capilano. We'll see if CRQ can put the same amount of pressure on the Capilano scrum that Capilano is able to put on the CRQ scrum. And what the scrum is, this is when the forwards, the players wearing jerseys 1 to 8, get together and they come together into a scrum with the players wearing 1, 2, 3, so 2 props and the hooker in the middle. And just with the alignment, there's an advantage to the team that's putting the ball in. And here we see that that's Christina Burnham wearing number 9 for Capilano. That's going to be putting the ball in, and she's a scrum half.
Mo's going to be looking for, before the ball's put in, he wants the scrum to be steady. There's obviously CRQ was a little bit too eager. And here we see Mikayla get the ball. We're right in the middle of the field right here. Options for Capilano into the hands of Demitakis. Hard player to bring down. Shannon Craig tries to get a quick ball out to Macy. Into the hands. I think that's their fullback. Oh, what a run on the outside, and she's over. Great ball movement by Capilano. They're looking very sharp right now. Yeah. Great passing, good sequences, great phases, and their forward pack is looking organized as well.
Yeah, and I think what we see is really Capilano seems to have that a little bit more of a physical advantage against CRQ. When the forwards are coming in, the forwards of Capilano are able to stay on their feet. They're able to join the run of play afterwards, whereas CRQ is being knocked back. They're having to then come back and retreat and try and get in. It's harder for them to get back into a defending position. And that's what created that overlap there on the left-hand side of the field that gave, it was a 3-on-1, I believe, for Capilano. And so 3 players from Capilano with one CRQ player to have to defend all 3 of them.
And we talked about this in the game on Friday where CRQ was so dominant against Toronto Saracens that it didn't quite feel like Toronto Saracens found their structure or found their ability to combat what was putting out there by CRQ. Yeah. And here we're seeing a good example of how the game could be played against a team like CRQ. Yeah. Use that physicality, like a Demi coming in hard, a Mikayla Nelson, and then great execution of skills on the outside. Tie them up with your physicality.
Yep. Yeah, and so we'll see whether CRQ can manage to adjust to that. Certainly, again, a lot of the CRQ players play together. They play for Université Laval, that is in Quebec City. So they're used to each other, but they play in the Quebec League. And Quebec is well known for its speed, for its creative play. Really, the backs doing what they can do. Certainly with players like Maud La Liberté, Kathleen Keller, Anne-Marie Boulanger-Martel, a lot of physicality, but it's a different style of play, and this is what, so it's interesting to see these 2 different styles.
So we have a knock on here. It's going to be CRQ's ball. This is their opportunity to maybe get something off the ground. We're almost at the end of the first half. So good positioning on the field for CRQ. You can hear their fans cheering them on, trying to pump them up, get them excited. It is 15-5. So this everyone's still in the game. This is anyone's game still. It's only the first half. We've seen what CRQ can do.
Again, we can see the winger for CRQ. Should be number 14, Gabrielle Plourde. Seems to be either going to be about to join the line, but we can see that she's cheating over towards the open side of the field. So certainly CRQ looks like they might be planning attacks through the backs. See if they can get something going here. They need that stable platform. Again, Capilano has been able to disrupt the scrum. So if they can manage to hold the scrum, get a good platform, get good ball produced for the backs, let's see what CRQ can do.
And they're set. Ball's in. And they do a pick by Fabiola. Drawn some defenders from Capilano on the far side of the field. Sorry. Bit slower ball coming out. Forwards can set it up. And they're trying to get it out a little bit faster now because this will fit into their game plan. And here's the speed we were talking about, but it doesn't go to hand. It pops off the chest and hands of number 15 and into Capilano's hands. Mel Robinson takes it in. And we are seeing Mikayla as a go-to on that first phase to get it out. Shannon Craig uses some footwork but gets pushed back a little bit. Quick hands. Christina Burnham directs the ball back inside to number 7 from Capilano, Nicola Jones. Good pressure, and Macy manages to keep her hands on the ball, but number 11 from CRQ, Anne Jobert, gets in the way.
So we just see that tackle count on both sides. Great tackles being put in, effective tackles being put in. That ground is hard, right? So just putting the tackles in, getting back up. Good job on defense by both these teams. One thing that we can see when, if you're watching the game, watching what the CRQ is doing very effectively is they have two lines of runners, so they're doing that deep ball. So as you can see how they're lining up on the big angle from the camera here, and they have that front line, and then they have the winger, the fullback coming in the deeper line, and so they're putting it into the back. So giving that extra time and space for the CRQ players to be able to find the gaps in Capilano, and they're getting the ball out wide effectively using that.
And Capilano again dominates in the scrum. Great pressure by Capilano. And there's a fight. Demi Stamatakis. We've heard from her before. But to get a turnover, ball's going out quickly. Yes, Mo's going to give CRQ an opportunity here.
And so what happened there was an infraction that happened beforehand, and the referee, we call it playing advantage. So he allowed the play to go on. The CRQ had the ball in their hands to see if he doesn't blow the whistle, are they able to gain an advantage by the mistake that Capilano did? When he wasn't, then they go back to where the infraction occurred. So that's, in rugby, we call that playing the advantage. Yeah.
And many of us players love the advantage. We want that advantage because we don't want to stop and go. We want to, when there's flow, and especially if we get a turnover, we don't want someone to blow the whistle and stop us down. We want to just be able to go if we get that momentum. And then it's up to the referee to see if we actually have that advantage.
Absolutely.
And then we can shut it down.
And that's why we always say play to the whistle. Doesn't matter what happened on the field. You keep playing because, again, it may be to your advantage to not stop.
Capilano gets the ball back into the hands of their number 8, Lindsay Nicholson. Nice job by Capilano. Moving forward, they're keeping their structures is simple, but it's effective. Usually a couple hit-ups with their forwards and then out to the backs. But as long as the forward players do their job and they go up strong and hard, it's been good. Number 11 there, Heather Muir with the ball. We're going back and forth across the field, which can be tiring for the defense. Fabiola tries to steal that ball, but she's unsuccessful. Into the hands of Shannon Craig. Mikayla gets a nice flat pass. Good quick pass by Christina, but it does not go to hand. We haven't made much ground here, so this is a combination of good defense by CRQ. So we already know that CRQ, their strength in the last game was getting reorganized quickly and coming up fast. And we can see by the fact that there hasn't been much movement off the 10 that their defense has been quite effective right now.
Yeah, and certainly they've tightened up their defense. Capilano seems to be trying to get around the edges, but the winger on this close side here, Gabriel Plourde, has been doing a great job tying them up, coming up hard, shutting down the number 11, Heather Muir, for Capilano.
And Macy finds a hole. This could be dangerous. And she's through. She crosses the line. She's coming to the posts. And she wants to get those extra posts. She knows she can kick that through. She puts it there. And that's a try. That makes it 25 for Capilano.
And you saw Macy Munson running towards to put the ball down under the post. And as we mentioned before, the kick will be taken from a line directly back from where the ball touches ground. So when you see that happening, whether it's in sevens, which we see a lot on TV now, or in 15s, that's why that player is taking that chance and coming further in under the posts. So again, just great hard running, that back inside ball to Macy Munson. And just that cover defense not able to get quite out fast enough to get it to stop her.
And all credit to Macy. She found that hole, right? She put herself in a position to find that hole, which was great. Good sort of hunting by her.
Yeah.
I think at this point, CRQ is probably going to be looking really eager for that halftime to just, okay, guys, let's regroup. Let's figure out how we're going to attach the second half. You know, you and I have both played for over 20 years. We know that game of two halves exists. It happens all the time. And CRQ has an opportunity here to just settle down, figure out what they need to do to get back into this game, and play the game that they can and move forward.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Marlene. Being able to change tactics. They may or may not do a couple of personnel changes, but there have been knock-ons, passes not quite going to hand. So we'll see what happens in the second half. This has been a great half of rugby, really competitive. We didn't know what to expect coming in, and we'll see what the second half holds.
So this is halftime for the gold medal game. The score is 22-5. It's an exciting game. The teams are going off into their corners. And at this time, we're going to look to track down Sandro Fiorino. He is somewhere here, and we're going to have a quick conversation with him about what's going on in the National Senior Women's Team. We are happy that Sandro's come out to watch this tournament. We had a chance to talk to him earlier, and he has a lot to say.
Encore une fois, on va faire une entrevue avec Sandro Fiorino. C'est lui l'entraîneur en chef de l'équipe senior féminine de Rugby Canada pour les 15. Alors, on souhaite le bienvenu. On va le faire en anglais, mais je vais faire un petit recap après en français. Okay. Hey, Sandro.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. So welcome here. We saw that you were out here on Friday watching both games. You're here today. We're really pleased that you came to talk with us. You're the head coach of the Canadian Women's Senior 15s. You're based here now in Ontario, if I understand. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing here.
I wear two hats. My primary hat is continue to work in the sevens program here. We built a next gen center here post Rio, so we're in year 3 of that, and we have 30 plus athletes that train out of the Pan Am Legacy building in Toronto, and the athletes train 4 times a week, and it's pretty exciting to see that next generation of athletes work towards an opportunity to play sevens and possibly 15s in Canada in the near future.
And what age grade are those athletes?
Yeah, our youngest athlete is 14, and then we have a few national players that are in the age grade, and also some players that are in their university years. So we have a really young group and a really dedicated young athletes that are working really hard.
Okay, great. And I understand you were also at the Super Series. I wasn't there. I don't think Marlene was there. Can you tell us a little bit about the outcome of the Super Series?
Yeah, it was
and what it is?
Yeah, the Super Series was in San Diego this year. The top 5 teams in the world were there: New Zealand, England, France, Canada, and the USA. We had 4 matches in 13 days. Really strong opponents. So, we had some awesome moments out there. The team played well. Obviously, some of the performances, we left a few opportunities on the table and, came short. But it's a great time for us in second year of our World Cup cycle to understand that there are gaps in our games. And, today obviously is a great platform for players to show what they have. We're always looking for our national players and up-and-coming national players to be on a platform like this to put their hand up for possibly a camp or opportunity to play for Canada one day.
Yeah. So one of the great opportunities here for when it's a club championship as opposed to the rep is that there must be some new players that you haven't been exposed to before that you're seeing this weekend.
Yeah, there's always a few players that put their hand up, and you're curious to find out a little bit more about them. And yeah, both teams today obviously have some players that are out there working really hard and definitely take advantage of this opportunity to put them on the pathway, playing provincial rugby in the next cycle, and then obviously either playing at a U20, attending a U20 or a senior women's camp.
Have you had any surprises in the games on Friday or today? Is there anything that, certainly spectators here, we were interested to see the difference in level between, or difference in the game that was played between CRQ and Toronto Saracens. Have you had any surprises?
Yeah, I think what we do see is that each team has a strength, right? And you can see today, Burnaby's strength is they're strong up front with some skilled backs, really dominant in the set piece. And then you see a team like Quebec who's taking advantage of their skill set, trying to move the ball with width, quick lightning ball. And obviously you can see that, in the first half, Quebec's had a few opportunities that they left on the table, where Burnaby's taken advantage of their opportunities and closed them off. So exciting 40 minutes ahead of us. And we'll see if the fatigue starts to kick in. I know it's challenging for these teams to play 2 80-minute games in a short period of time with minimal 24 hours rest in between. So the 60-minute mark might be the turning point for some of these teams to dig in and see what they have.
Yeah. And certainly Capilano playing out in BC wouldn't be used to perhaps the same heat as what we're seeing today, whereas Club de Rugby de Quebec is used to this heat. We've had a really hot summer in Quebec, so we'll see if that plays out.
Yeah, obviously seasonally it's tough where these teams from BC are haven't played probably since May, and the Quebec team's been playing all summer. But credit to them, they've been putting in the work obviously, and we'll see what they have for the next 40.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks, Sandro. It was great that you're here. So first of all, on behalf of the committee, we're really thrilled that you're here and interested in seeing it. But thanks for coming up and talking to us and telling us about the 715s. And and then we'll turn this over to Mars.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Sandro. We'll see you later.
And we're back into the second half of the gold medal game at the Canadian Rugby Club Championships. The score is 22-5 for Capilano. Balls in hand for Capilano. But it looks like we may already have a turnover. Mo Chandri is the head referee, assisted by Jake White and Chloe Seidner. We just had an interview with Sandro Fiorino, the head coach of the national senior women's team. Gave us some insight on what's been happening, his feelings about the Super Series. He also wanted to mention he accidentally called Capilano Burnaby. He wants to apologize for that sincerely. But Burnaby, you're a great club too. A little shout out to the Burnaby girls. But this is Capilano versus CRQ, or Club de Rugby de Québec.
Puis c'est ça, je vais juste faire un sommaire de ce que Sandro Fiorino nous avait dit. Il avait dit qu'il était à San Diego avec l'équipe canadienne senior féminine. Puis il a vu, tu sais, on est entre les deux Coupes du Monde. Alors, c'est certain qu'on a vu plusieurs nouvelles joueuses. Ça se peut qu'on a laissé quelques points sur le terrain. On n'a pas performé autant qu'on a voulu. Mais certainement, c'est un bon développement pour les joueuses. Puis aussi, ce qu'il avait dit, que c'est intéressant de voir des joueuses ici qu'on ne voit pas normalement si c'est la compétition universitaire ou la compétition provinciale. Alors, certainement, ils regardent pour les filles qui vont dire « Oh, moi, je suis là, il faudrait faire attention à moi. » Puis aussi, les entraîneurs vont aussi avoir un petit mot à dire à Sandro après les matchs au banquet, je suis sûre. And so there you go.
Whatever you said, Mo, I heard you. I heard you. So what we saw to start the game was CRQ kicked it down the field. They had an opportunity for a line out. It looks like it wasn't straight. So we're going to have a scrum down here. It should be Capilano's ball, which it is. Christina Burnham is looking to put it in. Capilano looking to get out of their 22.
And so we'll see if this half is CRQ can perhaps...
Whoa. What a tackle. Sorry, Mo, I just had to...
Yeah, absolutely.
I felt that.
Can do exactly that. They need to do more and more of that. That was a great tackle. She's a little bit slow coming up. She paid a price for it. But I think, was that 10 on 10? Certainly, Shannon Craig's a strong runner. We've seen her running strong all weekend. And boy, was she put backwards by... And I think it was Anne-Charlotte Beaulieu, although I'm not sure about that. But Anne-Charlotte seems to be perhaps a little bit sore after that. Actually, I'm sorry, it was Audrey Champagne. So hopefully she'll just shake that off.
That's what we're looking to see at this level, those big hits. A lot of people, that's what they love about this game. just putting your body on the line when your teammates it's so inspiring. I know for me, it was always watching Barbara put her body on the line for us at Velox and West Shore, and it really brings the club up. It really brings your teammates up when you can make those big hits.
And already you can see CRQ is performing better at the set piece. That was a really good line out. They brought the ball right back down. We call that a driving maul. So they had the line out, caught the ball, brought it down, and were able to come together and gain some territory.
And we have number 2 took that ball in, Kathleen Keller. They are just meters out of the try line right now. CRQ is trying to get back into this game. They're not out of it yet. The score is 22-5. And we talked about the game of 2 halves. CRQ's ball, Mo Chaudhry.
And you can hear the calls from CRQ just saying to slow it down, get organized. We saw what they did when they were organized at the line out. Certainly they had a really good line out. We'll see what they choose to do. They have a penalty. At the penalty, there are choices. They don't necessarily have to take it tap and go. They can choose to do a line out. They can choose to kick for a line out. They can choose to have a scrum. So we'll see what the decision will be by Captain Justine Pelletier.
Justine Pelletier. So they're taking their time with this. They want to make sure they take full advantage of this. They're organized. They want to make sure they're organized.
You can see how ready Capilano is for this. They're pointing which players they have.
Got the pods of players there. 4, take it in. And they're over! And taking that time was worth it. Gathering themselves, getting themselves mentally prepared to cross over the line was definitely what they needed. CRQ will be happy with that finish.
And you can see that Kaplan was really ready. They had their in tight. CRQ just took that little extra time, saw where there was a half gap. All they needed was a half gap. But importantly, that ball carrier had 2 teammates with her, drove her through that, and was able to keep her legs going, leg drive, get to the ground, and score the try. So well done for CRQ. We've got a game.
We got a game. We got a game on our hands, Mo. Yeah. We want to be entertained, and these teams are entertaining us for everybody out there. And they get the kick.
And a
great kick by number 10. Sliced it in there. And Charlotte Beaulieu. Great work. She'll be happy with that. It is now 22-12. 22-12 for Capilano. We hear a lot of support here, people yelling for their clubs. And it's great, I'm sure, for these teams to have that support in the stands.
And so having talked to Sandro Fiorino, the head coach of the Quebec Canada senior women's team, we also have the head coach of CRQ is Kevin Rouet, who is also involved in the senior women's 15s program. Certainly he will have had a chat with his team at halftime. Whether it's a change of strategy, whether it's a change of the way that they're, where I don't think there are any changes in personnel. And we can see that already coming up.
And And Capilano has the ball into the hands of Melissa Robinson. Oh, they might have jerseyed her, but she keeps it on. Macy Munson goes for a run. 2 players take her down, crawling on the ground for that long placement. We got a CRQ player just down around that area.
And again, obviously, Marcy Munson is such a strong runner. They're having to put 2 players on her, and then in fact, effectively able to defend against her in that way. Although it does seem that a player may have paid a bit of a price for that. A little bit slow getting up. I wonder if it's the same. I'm not sure which player it is, but certainly it looks like her shoulder perhaps is not where it should be.
We see a player running in right now, number 19 for CRQ, Annabelle Perron. She'll take the place of one of her teammates, and like we said, we're in the day and age where bench players are not they're finishers, they're impact players, and they're just important to the team as the players who start the game. Finishing the game can be integral.
Alors, on voit le substitution, c'est Annabelle Parent qui rentre sur le terrain pour la joueuse qui est blessée. Puis Annabelle Parent est joueuse pour CRQ.
Capilano is taking full advantage of their strength in the scrum now. Macy gets taken down. She tries to get up, She didn't release the ball, and I can see one of the CRQ players looking for that, but you got to play on. Number 13 takes it in. Ella Marwick. Shannon Craig looks to distribute the ball, but she realizes pressure on the outside from CRQ is up. They have excellent line speed. Quick pop off to Mikayla Nelson. She makes a little bit of ground there. Macy takes it in. The double team again. Capilano is moving the ball well. They're finding some holes.
Again, CRQ is able to make those tackles, and yet Capilano's going forward in the tackle. So great hard running by Capilano. CRQ just making those tackles, but again, giving up some room, some territory as they're doing that.
Jillian Bogue with the half gap. And waiting for that moment. This is what CRQ wanted, that pressure, forcing an error. And now they have the ball.
Talking about Barb Mervin, I think Kathleen Keller is definitely CRQ's Barb Mervin. Just fierce in defense, great runner with the ball, putting her her body on the line, the hair flying up also. I always remember that from Barbara. So she's having a great game. She's playing hooker in this game. She often has played back row, having a wonderful game.
Great placement of that ball. And CRQ comes up with pressure. CRQ are going to be happy with that placement. But as Mo has explained throughout the game, it will be Capilano's possession because it was not a penalty, but it definitely put CRQ in a better position.
Yeah, they weathered that pressure. Capilano was bringing a ton of pressure within the 22, within the attacking area for Capilano. CRQ was able to withstand that pressure, created the turnover, and now has relieved that pressure by a great kick in behind Capilano.
Capilano gets the ball. And that will be CRQ. CRQ scrum.
There seems to be some discussion whether it's a scrum or a line out, and it seems like it's going to be a line out.
It's going to be a line out. It's going to be line out. Kathleen Keller will be throwing the ball in for CRQ.
Yeah. And again, Kathleen Keller playing hooker today, and she's recently back from Spain where she was playing with the Women's Super League over there. So lots of experience.
Nice ball. Good throw. Good pressure from Mel there. It's still going backwards. I don't think they're gonna keep ball. I wasn't sure if that was gonna be called a knock on, but he didn't call that. And ball has been stolen by Capilano. It's a turnover ball. Capilano's ball. CRQ's marching back.
It's again much better set piece that we're seeing from CRQ. That line out was well executed. They tried that deep pass again, but the one disadvantage of deep pass, when they get caught, now they're quite a bit behind the gain line. That line out happened in front of the dark blue tent that we see probably maybe 30 meters out from the gain line, and now they're between the two tents.
And again, they're using that kick to get some territory. And CRQ is going to use their finishers now. Some subs are coming in. Number 17, I'm going to get this name right, Mejda Ben Said.
Puis on voit la substitution numéro 17, c'est Majda Ben Saïd. Puis elle rentre pour Club de Rugby de Québec. On n'est pas encore certaine c'est qui la joueuse qui sort.
And the hope that the people that you're putting onto the field at this time of the game can have the same influence or more at this point with those fresh legs as the people that just came off. Good pressure. You can see CRQ racing up, and you'll see their line of defense.
Again, that was Kathleen Keller with another tackle.
Kayla Nelson. She's getting a lot of ball today. Macy's going down. And they're looking for the counter ruck, trying to mess up the ball, and they do. They mess up the ball.
So again, great defense by CRQ. They're doing what they have to. They're stopping they're stopping Capilano from going too far, even beginning to do some positive tackles, beginning to stop them at the game line, not letting Capilano get beyond the game line. So really a different game from CRQ from the first half that we're seeing. Set piece seems to be more solid. Their tackles are they're being more solid in the tackles. We'll see what the scrum brings.
Let's remember there's about 30 minutes or more in this game still. There's lots of time here. Good positioning. It's a good points separation here, 22-12. Anybody's game, so no need to panic at this point. Shannon Craig uses Macy as a decoy. They get it out wide with a flat pass, and then we have on the outside, that looks like to be Ashley Robinson. She gets a little more ground. And Shanna takes it herself, but is getting pushed back. Good defense by CRQ. And Capilano's coming around, looking to move the ball out. Looks for the offload.
Yeah. Again, CRQ making their tackles, not allowing the line break, and yet giving up a little bit of territory, but being solid on defense.
Demi Stamatakis looks around the break ground, does a little shift pass to Mikayla Nelson. They're that much closer.
Great defensive line by CRQ. Great running angle.
Nice angle. And that's what you want in your defense. You want it to pay off. It gets so much more rewarding when you play hard defense and finally you get the rewards of that. And that's what happened for CRQ. They're going to be in the scrum. They haven't been as dominant in the scrum, but again, they need to really focus in and zone in on this part of the game because this is where they could definitely have some advantages.
Yeah, as the great Sluggo used to say, on defense, you can bend, but just don't break. And I think that's exactly what CRQ is being able to do now. They're giving the territory little by little, and yet they're not breaking. There's no line breaks by Capilano at this point. And
if I'm not mistaken, the Andrea Burke has just shown up on the field. She had a big impact in the last game when she came on. They put her in a little bit earlier just because of I think probably because of how tight that game was in that first half. They brought her in to ensure probably that they made it to the finals. She's now in, and it looks like to be in a fullback position. She will definitely have an impact on this game, I can only assume. And she'll look to insert herself somewhere. Quick pass, and they make it off. Good defense by CRQ, and they push her out.
Yep.
Bend, don't break. CRQ makes the tackle. It will be CRQ's ball.
And you saw there how the number 8, the last person in the scrum from Capilano, picked up the ball and went left. So there are different ways to take the ball out of the scrum. The 9 can pass it out or run with it. And the last player in the scrum, or usually the number 8, can pick it up and run with it. She tended to go left because it was one we call off the head, meaning that the opposite team that put it in won the ball.
So
important line out.
CRQ, yes, this will be an important line out.
It doesn't.
And
so
it's
looking at body
in a
positions.
dangerous area. Yeah, you always line out there. You want to make sure you secure that ball. And they've done a good job. CRQ's done a good job of getting the ball down. We'll see where it is. They're one of the few teams that have actually used the maul. We're not seeing that as much in today's game, but a good maul is a good maul, and when it gets going, it can be quite effective.
Yep.
Hopefully they stay in bounds here. And their forwards are setting up for a short ball just to draw on some forwards. Number 19 takes them down, though. Karina Christensen. Just some short balls just to tie up the defense. They're just trying to tie up the defense right now and see if they can find some space out there.
And what you're doing, if you look at where the players are positioned on the field, it means that the forwards really have to stay close to that breakdown.
Great work by Demi Stamatakis. She stole the ball from their hands, pops it off to their number 7, Nicola Jones, but she gets run out of bounds.
And I think Mo Chaudhry is signaling, was that a high tackle, perhaps by one of the CRQ players? Which is unfortunate. They were weathering that pressure. Now Capilano will have a great position for, it looks like they're going to have an attacking line out. And again, because Capilano is kicking it out and it's a penalty, Capilano will have a chance to throw the ball in. Again, this is something that they rehearse, so the advantage is that they will have specific calls. They will know where the ball is going, whereas CRQ will have to try and guess where it's going and try and disrupt the ball for Capilano.
Depending on the strength of your boosting pod and your jumper, a lot of teams choose not to, defensively, choose not to go up, and they just wait to come down and either come up on defense. So again, not as an effective defensive line out there for them. Andrea Burke looks to straighten it up. If Andrea wasn't playing today, she'd probably be up here with us or replacing us. She's
Doing
a very,
much better
very
job than we're
experienced
doing.
commentator. She has commentated at the Olympics, TSN. So we apologize for our inexperience, but I hope you're enjoying the game.
Yeah.
Christina Burnham gets it out to Shannon Craig, to Macy Munson. Quick pop. She looked like she was almost losing some control there, but she gets it off to Andrea Burke.
Yeah, and that CRQ line is holding. They're organized in defense. They're coming up as one. Great defensive work. They're making ground in defense.
And you can see it. You can see them organized, coming up together. It is nice to see.
Yeah.
You can feel they're all on the same page. They're fighting hard. They're fighting hard. Number 14 takes it in. Caitlyn Cumming. To Mel and Demi. We said Demi was a strong, powerful runner, and she bounces off for that try. Excellent work by Demi.
And a great little offload there between the forwards just to, I think that was a back inside pass. Mm-hmm. So again, really good work on Capilano.
Yeah, great try by Capilano. You can feel they're picking up their momentum. The score is 27-12. They're definitely playing a more confident game in this game than they did against Charlottetown. Maybe the thought was that they would have actually had that dominance, similar dominance to Charlottetown as CRQ did. But this game, they feel like they've hit their stride.
Yeah.
They're starting to hit their stride.
Yeah, and I wonder if perhaps having a challenging game in the semifinals, certainly they have to adapt. You know, you have to adapt to a challenge that is put forward. CRQ didn't have that same challenge in the first game, so they certainly had it in the first half, and we've seen already they've made that adaptation. So sometimes having an easier semifinal is not always the best thing to prepare you for a really tough final.
And we also mentioned how for Toronto Saracens, who had that game, they're going into their playoffs for league play. So a game like that is going to really set them up for a great game in their quarterfinals in club rugby, which is coming up in the next weekend. Next weekend coming up, they'll be playing their quarterfinals. So after playing a loss of 0-60, they're going to be pumped and ready to go. I feel a bit sorry for the team that they're going to play next weekend.
Well, absolutely, and you learn it hurts to lose, right? We've both lost. I've lost by many points to a New Zealand team.
But not very often, though. I don't lose, just so you know.
Okay.
Just as long as that's clear.
Okay, no problem. But you learn so much. It's hard to lose. But you learn so much, and you learn quickly because, again, it's a challenge, and you have to rise to it. So, yeah.
Okay, we're going to see if CRQ can come back from this. Demi's probably all pumped up now. She just scored a great try. She's definitely inserted herself in this game. Nice offload. They're really connecting well here. Capilano. Caitlyn Cumming secures the ball on the outside. To Mikayla Nelson. This should almost be prescribed. We've seen the same thing over and over again. Mikayla's just grabbing balls, making territory, setting up the system. A nice offload by Macy. Great movement of the ball. Out wide. An unfortunate little fumble there. Went backwards. We're still playing on.
And again, you can see Kaplan still spreading that field wide, one side of the field to the other.
And Macy finds some space there over the ball.
And certainly Capilano has numbers out left here.
Yep, they're lined up. You can see that alignment, that threatening, attacking alignment.
Mm-hmm. See if they can take advantage of that in the next couple of plays before Rugby Quebec recognizes it and is able to compensate.
Oh, fights hard. She's staying on her feet. Shannon Craig whips it out to Macy. Macy gets it out to number 13. Number 13 has the support of Caitlyn Cumming. Number 13 is Ella Marwick. And she lays it down over the line.
Just that strong, hard running. two CRQ players, and perhaps sometimes there's a little bit of miscommunication, weren't quite able to each hang on to her, and she just powered over that line. One thing that we have to say is, so Capilano, having had that hard game and having that challenge put in front of them, they have a great coach, Anne Huang. So they would have been looking at the videos, which we've already talked about what they did yesterday. We talked about that with Jessica Hanna. During the earlier game, this is what they did. And so the coaching staff really being the leading force of being able to ask the players, demand more from the players, analyze the game with the senior players, and make a change to it. And so congratulations to Anne Wong on, first of all, just bringing the team here and doing a good job with them. But we'll see what happens still.
And we also have to recognize that Anne Wong is the only female head coach here at this tournament. And again, we're coming into a day and age where that won't be discussed as much anymore, because there's so many female coaches on the rise right now. But it is a kudos to her that she is here leading this Capilano program as the only female coach at this tournament. It also we're seeing right now how important quality club coaches are, especially for representative programs. Sandro Fiorino can't, sort of do what he needs to do at his level if club coaches aren't sort of coaching the way they need to be, putting in that effort. So to all the club coaches out there that put in those 3 days a week or more, we just want a big thank you to all of you for everything that you do and all the time that you usually volunteer. Maybe a small stipend, but we all know that comes down to a couple cents an hour.
And having done both playing and coaching, it's so much more time consuming to be a
And
to be a
Mikayla's
coach.
going for the run that she we haven't seen all game, but she gets a nice free run there into open space. Out to Shannon Craig. She might have forced that pass a little. Andrea Burke takes the ball, uses her strong power cleaning legs there.
And again, we're seeing the same pattern of play from Capilano, using the forwards, kind of hitting up close to the rock. We call it, being able to gather CRQ into a smaller area of the field and then pushing the ball out wider.
And I mean, and you can see it both ways. Consistency is great. Seeing that consistency is great. But then we also talked about how when CRQ's on, that sort of flair and creative rugby that you don't anticipate is also really exciting as well.
Yeah.
So this is working for Capilano right now, seeing that consistent play of game. And why not? If it's not broken, why are you going to fix it?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's something that we come to expect from certainly the Quebec teams, having that Quebec flair or the French flair.
Yes.
The speed that they have, the creativity that they have, and we see it in the national team players that are coming out of the Quebec system too. They have great juniors developed by many coaches, such as Lee Bieber, but then also later on Jocelyn Barrio, doing great jobs with the upcoming players from Quebec.
Yes, definitely. And Sandra reminded me on this note, now that CRQ has possession, we want to give a big happy birthday shout out to Fabiola Fortiza, the number 7 for CRQ. It is her birthday today, and I'm sure it would be great for her to come out with a win here. But she's had a great tournament, and she can hold her head up high for that. Another person whose birthday is today, if I'm not mistaken, based on my Facebook stalking, would be Caitlyn Paquin. It's her birthday, or was in the last couple of days. Great player, one of my favorite players to watch. So happy birthday to those two back row players.
Yeah. As both at CRQ, Caitlyn Paquin played for CRQ for a long time, and Université Laval before heading out west with the national sevens and national 15s programs.
Yeah, my quad hasn't fully healed from a hit she made on me a couple of years ago. She's a great back row player.
Yeah. All right, so Rugby Quebec, again, Club de Rugby de Quebec is, again, right down in a great attacking position. They will have a line out, I think it's right on the 5-meter line. So this is a great attacking position. They've had a really effective driving maul, so I wonder what the decision will be there. I'm going to bet on a driving maul.
I think this would probably be a good time for it, but I mean, they have to execute. Great catch by the forward at the back of the line out there. It's somewhere in there underneath people, and they're going to look to pick and go. It's always a gamble. This is where you want about 3 of you to pick it up. It's really hard to score. You know Capilano is going to be working hard to play defense. But they do it. No, sorry, I'm too soon, too early. Only Mo can tell us what's happening. This is exciting. Can Capilano hold them off? And he calls the try. Great work by CRQ.
Yeah.
They're fighting for it. They're not going to give up.
Yeah. Great work for Rugby Club de Rugby de Quebec. Really just putting that, just making that commitment, getting in under the tackles of Capilano. So they're definitely still in this game. It's now 17-34. We'll see what they can do. There's lots of time still left in the game.
Lots of time still left in the game, and I've seen games like this happen. So, and I wouldn't put it past a team like CRQ to make that happen. One thing I have noticed, there is like a sort of energy from Quebec. I think I've joked around with Julianne Zussman about this. Like, there's this passion that I just love when I see Quebec play, a heart, and that might come from the culture of the province, the history, but there's just la passion. I don't know what I joke around, but I do love the style of play of Quebec and the quality of players that are coming out of that province.
Yeah. We're going to stop here for another water break. Again, it's hot here. It's the middle of the day. Players have been playing for now probably about 65 minutes. Again, the game clock is probably lagging a little bit behind what the referee's official time is.
It is, yeah. We're close to, our clock is saying about just over 10 minutes, but we have not been, it is 3:24. Yeah. Game started at 2 o'clock. So we're somewhere close. We're probably somewhere under 10 minutes in the game.
Yeah.
We start on time, but again, injury time.
Yeah.
There hasn't been that much, but some.
So maybe, so certainly again, for those of you who may have missed it, we're here at Fletchers Fields, which is has 6 great fields here. But maybe we want to do another shout out to our sponsors. Again, Quebec has driven here. They're 8 hours from Quebec City to be here, giving up. It's not a long weekend in Quebec, so giving up their days of work. Capilano has had to fly here, and certainly they get some funding from the tournament, but a lot of it comes out of the pockets of the girls that are coming here. So we really wanted to say a thank you to our sponsors. It means so much to us. We've both been on that side where a lot of your income goes to supporting your rugby playing career. So we really appreciate the sponsors and the people who have come to the tournament and have contributed by paying at the gate.
So our sponsors for this event, if you haven't heard them already, we're just going to keep repeating them so you can't forget them. Canadian Rugby Foundation, Langara Fishing Lodge, Toronto Arrows, Pemberton Homes, Sportside Medical Services, Gilbert Rugby Canada, Aldehard, Aptowella Women's Rugby Apparel, Toronto Inner City Rugby Foundation, Fletchers Fields, Rugby Ontario, and Rugby Canada. Without these sponsors, these sort of events couldn't happen, so we thank you to all the sponsors that have supported this tournament. We're getting back into the game. It is 34-19. CRQ will be receiving the ball. They've just finished strong. They're not giving up.
And they look ready to keep on going with this game. You know, like they are ready, and Capilano's slowing it down. So Capilano's just trying to.
Their fans are ready too, I can hear.
Absolutely. Capilano's just trying to calm the game down, take any momentum that CRQ has, because CRQ is on the up right now. So let's see. There's still lots of time left in this game.
And Macy is going to take the kick. She's been an effective player. Not probably the kick she wanted in the middle of the field. Kicking in the middle of the field gives CRQ some options. But Macy comes up hard. Takes the ball in hand. CRQ still moving forward. Fighting hard. Great offload. They just need to set up that first platform. Get the Capilano players off the ball. And it looks like they may have stolen the ball. It's hard to tell from here, but CRQ has the ball. And they're going for the boot. CRQ is going to have to come up hard. They're going to have to come up hard. Ashley Robinson is chasing the ball down. Lots of space. The counterattack ensues. Pick and go from Capilano. Trying to take advantage of those post players not set up yet. She gets the ball out quickly. Shannon Craig to Demi Stamatakis, who is standing out in this half. Christina Burnham gets it out. Shannon Craig under a lot of pressure. CRQ comes up hard on her.
Again, that was great tackle by Anne-Marie Boulanger-Martel. Still continuing to play hard in this heat, playing second row, making great tackles.
Mel Robinson, she's a veteran player of the Capilano Rugby Football Club. She's also captain, if I'm not mistaken, for the team today. You need those core veteran players to really keep club culture and club life alive in your club teams, and she's definitely been one of those. I've been playing in BC for 15 years, and she's been a big part of that.
Yeah. And talk about her bit of information is, did you know, Marlene, that she can fit 97 goldfish crackers in her mouth?
Oh, my goodness, 97. What about the other 3? Might as well make it 100.
And again, some great tackling. I think that was number 7. Was that Fabiola Forteza making a great tackle on Capilano?
Birthday girl. It's the birthday girl.
2 tackles in a row. Look at that. It's all very messy.
CRQ's getting organized on defense. But now they have the ball. Sorry, they have the ball. They're on attack. They're realigning. Good pressure from Macy. Pushing them back, using her strength.
Yeah.
And
again,
Mo is down low, making that call.
So you can see how the referee is really trying, whether it was the try that was CRQ's try just a few minutes ago or right there, he's really trying to get in best position. So the refs can't see everything, and they really do try to make the right call, and they're trying to get themselves in the best position. So we can see Mo really getting down, trying to understand what's going on with the ball, getting it right, because again, there is still time left in the game, at least 10 minutes. Just making sure we get it right.
And we're going to be scrumming down the far end of the field. Let's see, probably checking in. I think there was some checking in on some players there for Capilano.
I think there have been some substitutions that we haven't said. If we haven't, I'm sorry. I think though that Ariane Beaulieu from CRQ is in for one of the props, but I'm not sure about that. I had to say her name anyway. I played with her at Montreal Irish. I was her
just
coach.
Trying to name drop
but
there,
I do
Mo.
think she actually is in to the game.
Good scrum by Capilano. An 8-man pick out to the scrum half. Shannon takes it to Macy. And they wing it out to the 14. Caitlyn Cumming going for a run. She gets back up on her feet, gets the ball back. Andrea Burke moves the ball out to Lindsay Nicholson. Another veteran player for Capilano. Ball goes between Jillian Bogue's legs. Good work. I think that was Demi.
Yeah. And a great platform by Capilanos there. You can see them really setting up, protecting the ball when it's their ball in the ruck. And that's just practicing skills coaching.
CRQ still coming up hard on defense, but that bend not break mentality.
Yeah.
But again, at the end of the day, you need the ball in your hand. You need to get that ball in your hand at some point.
And yet if you put that much pressure, and CRQ has come up with it, we'll see what they can do now. That's Kathleen again taking the ball in.
CRQ on the march now.
So again, we started off from a scrum, and Capilano again did really well and attacked the CRQ scrum, was able to turn it over. So it's certainly one of the areas where Capilano has been dominant. CRQ has sorted out their lineup. They're doing very well in their lineup right now, but the scrum is still struggling, and Capilano is being able to take advantage of it.
And this will be, like we said, all these clubs are going to go back to their leagues. They're going to take a look at these things and definitely be working on them. And we see some subs happening right now.
No, I think actually is a yellow card. That's their captain, Jessica Hanna, who's been handed a yellow card. She's a flanker. I'm not sure what happened. Obviously, it was something that was in when CRQ took it into the ruck. Something happened because Mo called it up quite quickly, singled out Jessica Hanna. So what that means, a yellow card in rugby, means that player will be off for 10 minutes. So for the next 10 minutes, Capilano will be playing with 14 players on the field, whereas CRQ will have 15. There will be an overlap somewhere. The question is whether CRQ, with their strong, powerful backs, will be able to take advantage of that.
And folks, the score is 34-19. CRQ has ball in hand. Number 10 takes it in, offloads to Fabiola. Moving the ball quickly. Good pressure and they steal the ball. Ball stolen by Capilano Rugby Club. Sidestep.
And one thing that you notice when the ball is stolen, we saw number 11 for CRQ, Anaïs Gilbert, streaking back into a defensive position. Those back three, the fullback and the two wingers, as soon as the ball is turned over for Kaplan, they need to come back to protect against the kick that might come downfield. So all that work that's done off the ball, the back three, the 14, 15, and 11, working hard to get into defensive position to take away options from Capilano.
So we have a line out here for CRQ. Good line out for CRQ. They drive it inwards.
Okay.
But it looks like Capilano's doing a good job of disrupting the breakdown. And the ball's out, though, for CRQ. Good job for CRQ to hold on to that ball. Big pressure. And where the chase is on. The chase is on. Number 11, can she get her hands on the ball?
Oh.
Not quite.
This will be an interesting call because I think it was kicked out by the Capilano player, and it was kicked out in the end zone. So we'll see what the call is here.
And Gilbert tried hard to get her hands on that. Sometimes it's just the bounce.
Yeah.
That bounce
Yeah.
gets right into your hands. You can't control that. Some things are out of your hands in this game.
So we saw the last, on the other side of the field, the last set piece was a driving line out. Capilano successfully defended it, probably pulling it down. We'll see if they can do the same again here. Certainly has been one of the best attacking weapons that CRQ has had.
Fortunately, CRQ did not get up very high in that line out. They didn't get very high off the ground, so Capilano has the ball. And again, Demi Stamatakis offloads to Jillian Bogue. The power towers moving up the field. Melissa Robb. Shannon Craig.
Great pass.
To Macy Munson. Nice back inside against the grain. They take her down. That's number 13 or 12. number 13, Ella Marwick.
So Capilano, being a player down now, will be in no rush to play this ball. They have a minute to play the ball, and they'll take every second of that, likely.
Well, we already know, like, having the skill set of Macy Munson's boot, it helps them slow that down. They can get this ball down the field. They can take their time, give them a little bit of a breathing space.
That's stopping CRQ from being able to take advantage of their of having one extra man on the field.
Ball maybe, and it went out. Okay.
So again, because it was a penalty, Capilano kicked for touch or kicked the ball out of bounds. The ball will be thrown in by Capilano, and it's at the spot where the ball crossed the in-touch line.
Just slips out of her hands. Unable to pick it up, but CRQ picks it up. They move it quickly outside. Number 7, Fabiola passes it out wide. Capilano, good pressure on defense. Good hands. I think that's Kathleen Keller. And none other than Demi Stamatakis. She picks up the ball quickly. She's everywhere today. Good decision. Good decision there by.
Great defensive pressure. Great defensive pressure from CRQ. They were right up in the line. That was not going to go anywhere.
She holds onto the ball. CRQ's organized, though. They're coming up hard. CRQ's organized. But a nice little handoff by Jillian.
Again, that physicality.
The physicality, it's just, you can see it.
Forward running progression that, again, CRQ is making their tackles, but giving up some territory as they do that.
Good footwork. That is Ella Marwick. Nice sidestep. She finds some space. And Capilano is moving so well right now, just punching it up the gut, getting it out. Oh, and this little error there at the end.
Yeah, and again, CRQ, they're making the tackles, they're bending, they're not breaking, they're just hanging on right now. They were able to hang on long enough, created the turnover. Now it's going to be their ball. It's going to be a scrum, so we'll see if they can handle the pressure from Capilano. Again, this scrum was about 7 meters, 8 meters out, right at defending scrum so much. Riding on this, so the team will just get her that tight, the pack, the 8 will get together, really try and do everything they can to secure their own ball. Meanwhile, it's an opportunity for Capilano to try and disrupt again and see what they can do. We'll watch this.
Let's watch and see. Again, number 9 for CRQ is Justine Pelletier.
And Mo, the ref there, is just trying to make sure that there's no unfair advantages being taken by either team. He wants to make sure that the engagement is done correctly, that their scrum is steady before the ball being put in.
And this
and the pressure put on by Capilano, again, too much for CRQ to withstand, and CRQ gave away the penalty in that case.
There's some confusion there. It looked like Christina was about to tap and go, but then CRQ was ready to go there.
Yeah, CRQ certainly thought she'd tapped and gone, I guess.
So did I. We just went to her mark. Going in low. Nice hard crash. They usually do about 2 crashes, if not more, and then they're going to look to get it out. Still not over. It doesn't look like they're over the line. Mo's close by till we see his hand.
And again, CRQ just line up on that line, able to keep the attacking Capilanos out.
And that's game over. 34-19 to Capilano RFC, the best club in the nation. Congratulations to Capilano on an excellent tournament, and congratulations to CRQ for playing a great game, 34-19. I'm here with Mo McMahon. We'd like to thank you for showing up and streaming into this game. It's been an excellent opportunity to showcase what is going on across the nation in club rugby, some of the hotbed of talent in this country. Thank you to all the people that we spoke to. I'll just give a quick shout out again to
Justine Pelletier, Jessica Hanna, Sandro Fiorino were the 3 people that we interviewed today.
And yesterday we talked to Ann Wong. But again, we'll just talk about the people who organized this event. A big, huge shout out to the CRCC committee that included Davine Burton, Roger Smith, Hans de Goody, Mike Holmes, Janice Kugel, Kathy Calderola, Maureen McMahon, Mandy Marchek, Barbara Mervin, and Mark Bryant. And again, last but not least, and you'll hear it again, the sponsors: Canadian Rugby Foundation, Langara Fishing Lodge, Toronto Arrows, Pemberton Homes, Sportside Medical Services, Gilbert Rugby Canada, Aldahard, Aptowella Women's Rugby Apparel, Toronto Intercity Rugby Foundation, Fletchers Fields, Rugby Ontario, and Rugby Canada.
Et moi aussi, je veux dire merci pour nous avoir rejoints. J'espère que c'était vraiment un bon match. On a vraiment vu un match très, très fort entre les 2 meilleures équipes au Canada. On a vu comment que Québec avait le CRQ a été capable de s'ajuster, mais c'était juste peut-être un petit peu trop tard. Les Capilanos sont juste un petit peu plus physiques, plus grands. CRQ, on sait qu'il y a beaucoup de talent. C'est certain qu'ils vont revenir de ça, vont avoir beaucoup appris, puis ils vont faire encore des améliorations. C'est certain, c'est tellement un bon standard de rugby. Alors, merci pour nous avoir rejoints, puis à la prochaine.
We're probably now looking for the teams to get awarded their medals. Davine Burton will probably be in the process of organizing that. Following today's games, teams will congregate for a banquet, and we will have an all-star team announced. I'm sure I will try and throw that up on my amateur Instagram to let people know who the all-star team is. And because there's been such great performances by a lot of individuals at this team, it's always nice to recognize that. Again, I'd like to just give a shout-out to SportsCanada.TV. if you're looking for an organization or company to stream your sporting events, this is the company to talk to. Thank you to Tamara Dixon, who helped commentate on Friday, and a thank you to Araba Chinto, who helped announce the teams on the ground, and again to Maureen McMahon. We're signing off, and goodbye, Canada.
And thank you to Mars. You've had 2 days of play-by-play, not coming in last minute to do this on your time off. So thank you very much, Marlene. We all really appreciate it.
It's worth it. Goodbye.